Hi all, welcome to Crafting with Joel. It's been a hot minute and I've been unfortunately under the weather a little bit. For those of you wondering why I didn't do a video the last couple of weeks, as I was in the hospital at the end of February. I gave myself vertigo, and then I had an infection on top of that, and I've had a few medical issues in the last couple of weeks, so I've been kind of taking it easy. So today's vlog is going to be yarn. I'm starting another sweater. As you can tell, I'm working in the round. What yarns are going to be good for certain projects, what yarns you might want to think about staying away from. And I know a lot of you guys are Joann fabric shoppers out there, or there are a lot of people that love their Joann's. Well, unfortunately, here in the United States, Joann's is officially going out of business, and they're having their liquidation sales, and what that's going to hold in the future, because a lot of people are saying Michaels is carrying less and less yarn. I don't know about the Hobby Lobby situation, but I thought we would spend some time talking about that. So with Joann's going out of business, now is the time where I will tell you to go to a local yarn store. If you don't have one in your area, go online. You can actually find online yarn shops that will be happy to ship to you, and you can get much better quality yarn. Now, yarns that I'm going to do a disclaimer before I actually say it. I am what they call a yarn snob, and you might want to know what exactly a yarn snob is. Well, I grew up with a grandmother that shopped all of the acrylic yarns, and there's nothing wrong. This is another disclaimer. I am not bashing any yarns. If that's your personal preference to use an acrylic yarn, by all means do that. I am not one of those people, however. When I went to my first yarn shop and started to actually experiment knitting with the different types of yarn, and I'm talking about the wools, the merinos, the alpacas, the silk. This is a extra fine merino wool with a silk blend in it, and I will tell you, I am working with it is called Joe Sharp. I'm gonna hold this up. It is 75% extra fine merino and 25 mulberry silk yarn. Now, this is not for the faint of heart. Each ball of 50-gram yarns is approximately $19 a skein. For this sweater, I had to buy 11 of them because the pattern calls for 1,600 yards of DK weight yarn. This is a DK weighted yarn, and unfortunately each ball, and I'm going to try to grab one, forgive me for being out, this is one ball. Unfortunately, this is a 50-gram ball, which means that it only has 100 and, let me see if I can get the okay, that's the specifications. Let me grab the yardage. This is 50 grams. This is 180 yards. So 2 of these will equal 1 full hank that I usually work with. So, and the pattern that I'm using calls for 7 balls. So I had to buy 5 additional ones to get the yardage that I needed to make this sweater. So what do you want to look for yarn-wise when you're trying to shop for yarns? Well, we're going to go over the different types of yarn. There are lace weight yarns, which I will flat out say I don't have a lot of experience. Matter of fact, I have no experience with the lace weight. I very rarely I haven't even ventured into lace weight yarn making, and that has to do with the size needles that you would use for lace weight, and they're usually very, very small needles. They're size 0 through a size maybe 1.5 or maybe a 2. And I'm talking knitting needles. Same with if you're using lace weight for crochet, you're probably using a very, very small crochet hook. And that's just not something I've been interested in doing. Now you go up into your fingering and sock weight. Now those I have used in the past. I typically use mohair, or I use wool fingering. I do a lot of shawl making. Well, by a lot, I've made 2 shawls so far, but I'm gonna be doing a 3rd shawl. Fingering weight and sock weight are good for socks. I have socks on the docket that I'm going to be making soon. And you can do them for other things. If you're in Europe, chances are two fingering weights will equal a DK weight, where you'll do your double knitting using 2 strands. And we'll talk about that later. The next is your DK weights. And your DK weights are usually predominantly used for hats, mittens, sweaters. You can use them for a variety. You can use them for shawls. As a matter of fact, one of the shawls I did just finish was a DK weighted shawl. The red sweater, which unfortunately, because I kind of did this video willy-nilly, not planned, I did finish the red sweater. I will try to post a picture at the end of the video, so you'll see what the finished project looks like. It came out amazingly great. Matter of fact, I have 4 more sweaters on the docket, this being one of them. The red one was for me. This green one is also going to be for me. If you want to learn this pattern, unfortunately, I can't teach you this pattern because it is a paid pattern on Ravelry. It happens to be one of Stephen West's sweater patterns. You can find Stephen West on Ravelry. If you type his name, it's Stephen and then WEST. You can also go to Stephen and Penelope. They're based in Amsterdam. All of his patterns are linked on his website, and you can find great patterns. If you're a beginning knitter, or not an advanced knitter, but if you're just beginning knitting, I wouldn't suggest using his patterns as the first go around, because his patterns can be very tricky, but you can learn a lot of new stitches. He has also a YouTube channel. You can look for West Knits on YouTube, or Stephen West. If you type in Stephen West, he has great tutorials. They are not for the faint of heart, though. There are very difficult patterns that he does, and I am drawn to him. I actually love this sweater. Making it's a very easy sweater for me. So the next thing of yarn after a DK weight would be worsted, and worsted is great for like sweaters, heavy sweaters. We're talking heavy winter sweaters. So if you're in a warmer climate, you may not want to use the worsted weight, because worsted weight is going to be very, very warm. It's great for climates where you get a lot of snow, or if the temperature gets really low in the winter time, it gets below freezing. Your worsted weights will be used more for cardigans, sweaters, scarves, even hats, and gloves and mittens can be used with using worsted weight. And that's a great way to use it. You can also do worsted weight blankets. You can do worsted weight shawls, but they're going to be on the heavier side. Then from there you get into the chunky and the super jumbo yarns, and those are just projects that knit up or crochet really quickly because the stitches are going to be so big using such a thick yarn. They knit up quick. You can do afghans, you can do shawls, you can do granny square sweaters. There's a variety of things you can do with those. Then you get into the cotton family, and cotton again is breathable. It's lighter weight. They do make fingering cotton. They make DK cotton. I'm not so sure if they do a worsted cotton, but I'm sure somebody could post down below if you're a crafter and you use worsted cotton down below. Those are really good for like dishcloths, t-shirts, lightweight sweaters, a variety of other things to use for. So the first thing I would tell you when shopping for yarn is go out and sample the different yarns that are out there. Squish it, look at it, get patterns in mind. The patterns will always tell you what yarns to use, and every yarn that you buy will tell you what needle gauge. For example, the Superfine Merino says it uses a US 3 needle. I'm not doing that because I need a certain gauge, and I'm actually using a size 7 knitting needle for this project, but all of them will give you a suggested needle size for your gauge swatches. And it's very important to use a gauge swatch when doing clothing ideas, because that'll tell you what needle size you need to, especially if you're looking for the perfect fit of an item. So I hope this helped you guys. Stock up with your favorite yarns. Do go explore your local yarn shops, because now more than ever they can use your support now that Joann's is going out of business. And chances are a lot of yarn shops, my local yarn shop doesn't carry a lot of the cheaper brand yarns, but she can always order them, and her yarns are very reasonable. Her cheapest yarns I think start at $6, and then they can go up from there. She has some beautiful yarns that can go in the $50 to $60 range. Most of my yarns that I use are about $18 to $36-ish. I have quite a few yarns that are in the $30 range that I have in my stash, and those are the yarns that I solely work on when I'm doing sweaters and stuff, especially if they're gifts. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you on the next Crafting with Joel video. Until the next time, keep on knitting and crocheting and craft on.